Let me tell you what's actually happening in the tech industry right now. Not the headlines, not the panic, but the actual shift. In Malaysia and Singapore, tech hiring has not collapsed. In certain roles, it's actually accelerating. Companies are paying more for specific tech skills than they were 2 years ago. But at the same time, other tech roles that used to be stable, well-paying entry points, are quietly shrinking. And the people that are losing the jobs are not losing because the economy is bad. They're losing them because a tool that costs a few $100s a month is now doing what they were being paid thousands to do. Most people think the AI job threat is about job titles, that certain careers are safe and others are doomed. That's not how this actually works. The real threat is more specific than that and more personal. It's not about what job you have, it's about which layer of that job you're doing every day. I'm gonna break this down today. The functions that are under real pressure, the roles that are growing fast in this region, and the one mindset shift that separates the people who will come out ahead from those who won't. By the end of this, you will have a clear picture of exactly where you stand and what to do about it. So let's get into it. When sometimes, people ask me about AI and jobs, the conversation almost always goes into job titles. It's software engineering safe, what about data analytics or data science? What about cybersecurity? Is cybersecurity AI proof? And honestly, that way of thinking is gonna get a lot of people stuck because AI doesn't think in job titles. It thinks in tasks. Every job essentially is a collection of tasks. Some of those tasks require judgment, context, creativity, managing people and teams, and the ability to deal with unclear situations. Those tasks are very hard for AI to take over, but some tasks inside every job are just pattern matching. Find this, format that, run this test, translate this requirement into this template, check if the code does what it says it's gonna do, right? Those tasks, AI is actively doing them very well. And the part that makes this uncomfortable is that for a lot of junior developers in Malaysia and Singapore right now, the majority of what they do on any given day sits in that second category. That's not an insult, okay? That's just how careers work. You start at the bottom and you work your way up, right? The problem is that AI has taken out several steps from the bottom of this ladder. So before you ask, is my job safe? The better question is, which layer of my job am I actually working in? But this is where it gets more specific and more important. There are 3 specific areas where this shrinking is already visible in hiring data and job postings across Malaysia and Singapore. The first is manual QA and software testing. For years, QA testing were essential. You needed humans to carefully go through and test software, catch bugs, and document issues. It wasn't glamorous work, honestly, but it was stable and it was needed, and it was hiring, most importantly. AI-assisted testing tools have changed the equation quite drastically. Tools can now generate test cases, run rechecks on the whole system, and catch errors faster and more consistently than a junior human tester working through a checklist. Companies that used to hire 5 junior testers are now hiring 1 senior QA engineer who's able to design the testing strategy and supervise the automated process. And the second area is obviously basic front-end development. I'm not talking about complex front-end engineering. I'm talking about entry-level work, building pages from templates, making small UI changes, implementing designs that someone else created. AI code generation tools right now, like Claude Code, has taken over a significant chunk of that work, especially in my company. A skilled developer with the right AI tools can now produce what used to take a junior developer a week in hours. That's literally what I did with our landing page. Again, senior front-end engineers who make big picture design decisions and own the design system, that's still in demand. Probably more now than before. But the entry-level part of it, it's shrinking. And the third is entry-level data work. Basic data cleaning, simple dashboards, templated records. A huge amount of this work is now being done by AI tools that non-technical users can now operate themselves. The data analysts who are thriving are the ones who move to a higher level of the work, who understands the business problem well enough to ask the right questions, who can translate messy business reality into a clear way of thinking about the problem. That's judgment work. AI can assist it, but it cannot replace judgment. And here's the thing that most people miss about all of this. The same AI wave that is shrinking those functions is actually actively creating a different set of roles. The first is AI integration, what some companies are calling AI engineering. This is not about building AI from scratch. This is about taking the AI models that already exist from OpenAI, from Anthropic, which is Claude Code, from Google, Gemini, for example, and building them into real business workflows, connecting them to company data, making sure they work correctly in a real life system, handling the unusual situations that break things. Every company in this region that is serious about AI adoption needs people who can do this, and there are just simply not enough of them. Right now, people with this skill are negotiating from a position of strength. The second one is going to be cloud security, specifically as it relates to AI workloads. Malaysia is sitting on one of the fastest growing data center ecosystems in Southeast Asia. All of the infrastructure needs to be secured, and AI-powered workloads workloads come with a new set of weaker points that can be hacked that traditional cybersecurity training doesn't fully cover. Companies are actively struggling to find people who understand both cloud infrastructure and security in the context of AI systems. That skills gap is a real opportunity for anyone who's interested and willing to go after it. Third is going to be what I call AI product management. As companies build more AI-powered products and internal tools, they need people who can translate between the business side and the technical side. People who understand what AI can and cannot do. People who can define what a good AI product outcome looks like, and people who can manage the teams building it. Well, this isn't a purely technical role, but it requires enough technical knowledge to be taken seriously. And in Malaysia and Singapore, it's one of the fastest growing functions in the tech sector right now. But here's where I want to zoom out, because there's a bigger point underneath all of this. I have worked through a lot of specifics here, and I want to be honest about something. The tech job market in Malaysia and Singapore is not in a crisis. The overall direction is up. The data center investments, the AI infrastructure build out, the digital economy growth, all of that creates demand for tech talents that flows from it. But it is splitting into two. The top of the market is doing extremely well. Experienced engineers, AI specialists, cloud architects, product leaders. The demand is high. Salaries are moving up, and good AI native people are in short supply. But the bottom of the market, they're facing a real pressure. Entry-level roles that used to be natural starting points for tech careers are shrinking rapidly right now, or just simply becoming very significantly harder to break into. And the people that are most at risk are not the ones who lack skills. They're the ones who haven't asked themselves this question: which layer of my current role am I spending most of my time in? If you're spending most of your time doing pattern matching tasks that follow a clear process and produce a predictable output, that's the part of the job that's going to be taken over by AI. But if you're spending your day making judgment calls, dealing with unclear situations, bridging between technical and business context layers, designing systems rather than just following instructions within them, that layer is becoming more and more valuable by the day, not less. The shift that most people need to make isn't learning a new programming language. It's moving up one level of their current role and then learning the tools that make them more effective at that higher layer. That shift is available to most tech workers in this region in a strong position. The ones who wait for it until it becomes obvious may find the window to be closing or closed. So if you're a founder, a tech professional, or someone building a career in this region of the world, this is the kind of structural shift that's worth paying a lot of close attention to. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this on what's actually happening in Malaysia and Singapore's tech economy. So here's where we land. AI is not going to wipe out tech jobs in Malaysia and Singapore. That's not the story. The story is more precise than that. AI is removing the bottom layers of value in almost every tech role. The repetitive, the easy, templated, and purely pattern matching based roles. And at the same time, it's increasing rapidly in demand. And also the pay grade for the layers above that requires judgment, the design, the integration, the management of AI systems themselves. The people who treat this as a threat will spend the next few years anxious and reactive, but the people who treat this as a reason to upskill and move one level above in whatever they're already doing, they're going to look back in 5 years. This is one of the best decisions they made in their lives and one of the best things that happened in their career. The shift is going to happen either way. Trust me. Just project yourself 10 years into the future. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that you know? It's going to be AI. You see it adding value. It's not going to go anywhere. The only question is whether you're ahead of it or behind of it. That's all for today. Thank you.